Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. So we are live and we are so sorry. We've had some technical difficulties. We couldn't get Sonja onto the Google Hangout. So hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, I am Petra Diamant. I'm an awareness artist for endangered species. And I'm speaking to Sonja Ray today. And she is this eco-warrior on a mission to... What is it? What are you doing? On a mission to basically change the plastic industry in South Africa. Sonja, do you want to take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sonja. I'm from a company called PLUS Packaging. We're based in Cape Town, and we're going to be the very first extruders of biofilm in South Africa, which is plastic-free, plant-based film, which looks and feels like plastic, but is not plastic and doesn't contain any petrochemical. So it's very, very exciting.
That's amazing. So for those who don't know what we're using, so we're using Google Hangout and it's live streaming to YouTube. So sometimes there's some difficulty and we try our best to, as you know, to get the information across. So Sonja, I think what I want to do is I want to start let's do an overview of the plastic problem in South Africa and also the world, because it's a world problem, not just the country problem, right? So give us a bit of information about the problem in South Africa and what you've seen.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of companies trying very, very hard. The recycling companies are doing a great job. I've learned so much in the last 6 months. For instance, 90% of our plastic was actually collected by about 180,000 informal workers that work on the streets. And I didn't even know that. So we've actually got a very, very good team, very, very, very good guys. And that's going to, obviously, we've got a lot of different recycling companies. And then obviously that gets separated and it needs to be, so your PET, your plastic bottles, and all that goes wherever it needs to be. And then, yeah, it's very, 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 it's such a huge subject. I could talk for hours about it.
Yes, yes. You know, I've gone online and I've done a bit of research, you know, and I've looked at other countries with their plastic problems, and I've seen which countries, you know, export their waste to other countries, and then they make that country the problem. And then, you know, between the exporting and companies promising to recycle, the work doesn't get done. And plastic, I've seen these massive, massive areas with these blocks of plastic just out in the open, degrading out in the open. Well, not really degrading, is it? It's sort of like just breaking down. It's not really biodegradable. It's more just sort of like smaller pieces then blowing out into the environment and then ending up in our land, you know, in our land, in our rivers and our oceans, and then that goes into you know, that affects our animals, especially our marine life, right? Especially our marine life.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, it's a huge subject, and we've got to remember there's socioeconomic problems in South Africa. It's down to education. It's educating the public about the effects of plastic. You know, we often point fingers, but just a lot of people don't understand. They don't know. They don't have access to recycling. You know, it's not an easy thing, and it's, what's the word to say? It's a multi-pronged approach between education, providing the facilities in the rural areas. There's so many factors. You know, if we all work together, maybe we can solve the problem. So, I mean, the guys are great collecting the plastic, but we all, as a country, we've got to become aware that single-use plastic is a problem. So that let's not just talk sort of about plastic. Let's say single-use plastic. So your food packaging is a huge, huge problem. Look, obviously, there's a lot of focus on carrier bags, but that is only the tip of the iceberg. there's carrier bags, there's cool drink bottles are a huge problem, sweet wrappers, crisp packets. I do a lot of collecting on my local beach because I live in Komiki, and I pick up at least 2-3 days a week. And for me personally, the sweet papers and the crisp packets are everywhere. And those obviously can't be recycled. So, you know, what we do, a lot of people here in the deep south, we've got an eco-bricking solution where we use 2-liter bottles and then we stick all our single-use plastic in there. And we have drop-off points at our local malls, and it's collected and used. But you know, we've kind of got that sorted in this area. But I can understand what you're saying. In the rural areas, that plastic is going into the rivers. And it's very, very difficult. How do you solve that problem of making people understand that there's an ecological damage of throwing it in the rivers? And I've seen it. You know, I've been in Joburg recently. I've seen the rivers, and you know, they throw it in and then it gets cleaned up. They throw it in and it gets cleaned up. I think it's down to education.
I also think it's education, you know, but I also think, you know, it's everybody's problem. So I know just from going to the beach, you know, the amount of plastic that we pick up, and it's everything. I mean, I'm talking from bottle caps to especially the little packets of plastic to supermarkets and grocery stores, and then obviously retail. You know, the retail industry is just feeding it, right? And then it starts with the end consumer, but also with the retailers to take accountability for social, the social responsibility and the environmental responsibility. And I kind of feel that now is the change that we need to look at that, and everybody needs to come on board, and everybody needs to be held accountable for this. And we're all guilty. All of us are guilty. I want to touch on the topic of 100% biodegradable, what that means versus biodegradable and non-biodegradable. So do you want to take us through the steps, what is 100% biodegradable? Because I know that your bags, I've seen you put it in a jug, add water, mix and drink it. And yes, so for me, that is 100% biodegradable. So do you want to take us through the three differences that these plastics have?
Okay, so this is really, really interesting. So this word biodegradable, I've learned a lot about this word in the last 6 months because I've come from the plastic industry, which I'll tell you later. But there's biodegradable, and then there's compostable products. So it's quite interesting because I've marketed my first stock of bags as 100% biodegradable, not realizing it's such a broad spectrum of products. And I didn't even realize that there are these bags called oxo-degradable bags that also fall under the biodegradable umbrella. Is probably the word to use. So what biodegradable plastic, but I actually think that should be called degradable plastics, not biodegradable, but that's just my personal opinion. And then what biodegradable, which is obviously, we're not just talking about plastics, we're talking about the paper cups, paper bags, those are also the biodegradable. And then you've got compostable products. So those are products that there's an international certification called EN3, let me get it right, 342.
So let me just say that again. So that's an international thing called 342. Is that what you said? Because we're losing you a little bit. So the connection isn't that strong on your side.
No, that's fine. There are certifications, but generally it's that something that you put in the ground will turn into what they call biomass within 6 months. So if you put it in your home composter, end of 6 months, it should be organic material. So that's sort of the gold standard. Okay. So I like to say my product is a compostable product. But if I my plant starch biofilm in my composter, and this is also interesting, at the right temperature, because composting is quite a broad term. And if you chat to people in the gardening industry, they'll say a good composter can run about 60 to 70 degrees. That could actually be a bit high, but that's a good composter. So if I've got a veggie, what I call a veggie bin at home, that I just throw my vegetable scraps in, that's not really a composter. A composter is quite what's the word to use? Scientific. It's got to be done properly to reach those heats.
Yeah.
So if you put your paper bags in your home composter, but let's be honest, how many of us have got a really good home composting system? Most of us are trying to be good.
Yeah, I don't think many have. I don't think many have a very good home composter system, let alone a recycling, sort of like system or like a recycling, practice in place. So I don't think many.
Exactly. I mean, we've got to be honest about this. I mean, a lot of us work long hours and we're not full-time gardeners and we do our best. But, to actually get that really, really good composting system, you're going to be a veggie gardener, you're going to be at home, that kind of thing. So what I'd say, like, I've got bins down the side where I put my leaves and I put my brown paper products and I put my bags in them. And look, it's not going to take 6 months. It might take a little bit longer because it's heat activated. So my product is activated by heat. So if I put my bag in a jug or something and then put boiling water in it, it's going to go back to starch material. So basically, the product needs to sort of be put, I say to a sensible person, once you've boiled your kettle, put your bag in a little bit of boiling water, throw it on. It's going to activate the process. It's going to just turn into starchy water. Yes. And then I just throw it in the garden because I know there's no petrochemicals, there's no toxins. It's got all the tests in it that prove that it's non-toxic to humans and animals. Yes. But anyway, I think on about my bag, but let me get back to it. So the broad spectrum. So there's a product under biodegradable umbrella, which are also plastics that have got an additive added, and that's my problem. Because if you take a plastic bag and you call it 100% biodegradable and it's got an additive in it, people are confused. They're going to think that plastic bag magically turns into organic material, which I completely disagree.
Yeah, and I mean, I take it for myself, right? So I come from Namibia, and Namibia also has a huge plastic problem. So they have a recycling plant, and everybody's doing their best. But still, you walk into the stores, and almost everywhere they will give you a plastic bag, same as in most places in South Africa still, And it's 2019, we're going into 2020. I mean, it's almost like sci-fi time, where's the change? So looking at, like, even from the beauty products, we kind of want to use things that we want to consume. So from everything that we buy, it has to have a certain period, and then you put it in the ground, it breaks down, it basically feeds the ground, it feeds the water, it feeds the soil, it feeds the rest of the ecosystem. So yes, accountability definitely is that. And I think your bags with, how you've made them and how you've presented it and how you can break that down, I think this is definitely so key and so important for retailers and people, anybody really, to get the message out there. So whoever's watching, I know that some of you have had some problem or some issues getting online. We've also had some issues, but yes, I like it that somebody says, I love the fact that you make it as it is. We are all responsible. So this is where we are. So we have the full range of plastic going out there. What's your mission going forward? I mean, what's the vision for? Yes.
Can I just? I'm just going to interrupt you for a second.
Yes.
Okay, you're back. I lost you for a sec. I'd say if you go to the shop and you buy a virgin plastic bag of very good quality, can you hear me all right?
Okay, you're back. So I don't know why. Okay, there you go.
if you're going to the shops and you are going to take a good quality plastic bag, and you make sure that bag, if you're lucky enough to have, like I do, a plastic collection facility that collects once a week, that bag is going to go to recycling, and it's going to get recycled again into pellets to be made plastic again. Now, this is my problem, is that the market is flooded with these 100% biodegradable bags that are plastic with additive. Now, this is where it gets very interesting, is that if you take that bag and then you send it off to recycling, recycling may miss that bag is an additive added bag. That bag then goes to the recycling chain, and that additive contaminates the recycling chain. Yeah. So thousands of us that have now sent our virgin, good quality bags to be recycled, to be used again, that additive then gets into that recycling chain and degrades the good plastic. So when they make the pellets again and send it off to another plastic company who's bought recycled material, that material is contaminated. And I've experienced, we've made thousands and thousands of plastic bags, and they become brittle and glassy. You can throw the whole lot away. That's my problem.
Yes.
Because let's rather say buying and then correctly.
So we're losing you a bit. We're losing you a bit with the connection. Don't you want to repeat that for me? Okay.
So I'd rather have that we are aware, if you're going to be taking a plastic bag, you know that that's plastic and it gets sent away. When you buy a bag that you're not sure if it's a degradable bag with an additive, that's a problem.
Yes.
Because what are you going to do with that bag? If that bag lands up in the recycling chain, it's going to contaminate plastic. That can, in theory, be recycled.
Yes.
So that's my problem. Whereas once I release my bags on the market, they're going to have do not recycle with plastic, can be recycled with paper products. Clear symbol on the bag to say what it is, that my plant starch bag can go off with paper products. It's these in-between bags, these oxo-degradable bags, that are in confusion and messing up the recycling chain, and that's my problem.
Yes. So I want to say, when I got introduced to you, it was yesterday afternoon. I was on social media again, and somebody had posted, and I actually saw you presenting your bag from, I think you were at some summit, and you were walking the crowd through, the production of it, and also the way to kind of like responsibly dispose of it. And then again this morning I woke up very early, and I don't want to admit it, but I went into social media and I saw Sonja and a post that she had made, and you were in tears about this, in tears about the fact that there are organizations out there or plastic companies coming on board, posing as 100% biodegradable with no chemicals in their bags, and then selling that as 100% biodegradable as also as bags that do not have chemicals in, and the companies are falling for that and they are buying that. So just to recap on that, for those that couldn't really make up what she was saying, is this is where the issue lies, is that the 100% biodegradable is getting mixed up with the not 100% biodegradable with that chemical in, or like biodegradable with that chemical in, and this is contaminating the plastic procedure and process for reusing, recycling the plastic to be used again, when they do go through the whole transformation of putting it into the pellets and then into bags again, that everybody can use.
Yeah.
How are we gonna stop this? I mean, it's the problem is so big, and if people aren't being responsible, and these big retailers aren't being responsible and doing their research, first of all, because I think this is where it lies. These big conglomerate corporations, they have to be responsible in the research that they do, and not look at the cutting costs, but actually how can we improve and support 100% ethical, ethically produced biodegradable products. I mean, what's your plan? What's your plan going forward? What do you need?
Okay, so I'm speaking to the big retailers, and lucky enough, the big retailers are very informed. I'm actually very what's happening with these, I call them fake bio bags. They're landing up at packaging companies and being distributed to small businesses. And the public, because they're becoming socially aware of social media, are then buying these bags. So I definitely won't say it's the big retailers, because I've been to a couple of conferences and that they are there and they are totally on it. So I was so impressed with
it. That's good to know. Yeah, that's good to know.
It is good to know, because, we've got to be honest. I honestly thought they didn't know, but they do. They are totally on it. So it's the smaller packaging companies, and then those additive bags. This is interesting. These additives have been banned in America, Canada, and Europe. I've got a 150-page document from the EU saying the impact of oxidizable bags on the environment. There's been court cases in America, there's been court cases in Canada. What is happening? We don't seem to have legislation at the moment, which I'm hoping the different departments are going to start working on. The legislation isn't there. I just don't even think they're aware of this. But I will be working hard to inform them what's happening. And I suppose with our energy crisis and where we're at in the country, it's not top of the agenda at the moment, but I'm working hard. The environment is.
Yes, I want to interrupt you there. I know maybe that's rude, and I do apologize, but I do think that this plastic issue is such a problem, and I think it should be first priority, because it is affecting everything. It's affecting our food, it's affecting our water, it ends up in our animals, it ends up in us. It ends up in every single thing, and we are being poisoned. So, the electricity crisis in South Africa, yeah, sure, that is an issue. But the plastic crisis worldwide on a global scale is even more of an issue, So I think that governments really need to address that. I want to share a question with you before we go ahead, because we have some people. How can we get your product to every retailer here and globally available?
Okay. The retailers are aware of our product, and we are moving forward. We're in talks. So that's great. This product, I have to be clear, is a very famous bag from Indonesia, which this is our bag. So the raw material at the moment is coming from Indonesia, but we hope to be manufacturing the raw material at some stage in Africa. But I won't go too much into that. But it's a very, very exciting innovation. It seems to be personally the best that I've found, and they do know about it. It's a much slower extrusion process than plastic. It takes time. It's more expensive, but we are moving forward. So they do know about it.
Well, I'm so impressed with you, and I really applaud you. You really are an eco warrior, and I think that more people need to come up with solutions. And I really want to do another interview with you where we maybe have a little bit of a better connection, so that we can hear you and that we don't have the breakup. But I think people will definitely be interested in your story. You've done your research and you've gone out there. My thing for Earth and Life 365 is really to get the right information out to people, and then to get people on board to come and help the people who require the assistance and support, and and also grow the companies, because I find that sometimes that the bigger the organization, they're not necessarily the more ethical, and they kind of like swoop in and take over the market with the unethical products, and that makes it so much more difficult for people like, for instance, yourself and other smaller individuals or smaller, companies to get ahead. So I want to ask you, Sonja, how do we support you? You know, so how would you like our support from Earth Alive 365 and also people that are listening and that will be listening? You know, what's the biggest? I mean, there's sharing your business, sharing your ethics. What else do you need? I mean, who do you need to come on board in terms of legalities? You know, to approach the government, to approach organizations, to approach larger groups. You know, what is it that you need from outside assistance to take your cause forward?
Okay, well, if I can say, look, so I'm Prime Plus Packaging, and we supply cassava bags. And look, I don't supply all the biodegradable products, but I'll quite happily plug them. Green Home only supply tested. They test all the products. They're a brilliant company all in South Africa, you know, for straws, coffee cups, cello bags are available from them. They're brilliant. And the other thing is just how can, you know, it's trying to get the information out to the public that a plant starch bag and a biodegradable plastic bag are two different things, and that is through social media. And yeah, I'm trying as hard as I can on social media, and if you guys can all do the same for me, I'd really, really appreciate it. So let's think of it compostable, not biodegradable.
Yes, yes. So I think everybody, maybe some people that are listening, I think they're also wondering, I don't know if we've covered this because, you know, there was a bit of a break. How long do your bags last? You know, because there's obviously special care that goes into this. So how long do the bags last from point of purchase to, you know, to when it's finished and done? What's the special care with your bags?
Okay, thanks. That's a great question. I forgot to actually talk about that. Okay, so our bags, you can keep reusing them as long as you're careful with them. If you put something wet inside our bags, it will hold, but it'll compromise not so much the strength of the film, but the seal. Our bags are not petroleum, so it's the seals of them are precious seals. So, I mean, I've used my bag 10, 20 times. So if I go to the shops and I buy my dry goods, you can keep reusing it. It's obviously not as, doesn't have the longevity of a cloth bag, of course. But as long as you keep it dry and you don't overload it, there isn't really a time frame. I mean, I've been using the same bag for 6 months, but you know, if I go to my local shop and I buy biscuits and crisps and a few odds and ends, it goes in the bag. So it's not something that's going to just fall apart easily. But if you fill it with wet goods, then the strength is compromised because it's designed to degrade in warm, wet conditions. Yeah. The other thing I must say, these bags are not designed, they're designed for land use. And maybe we can have another chat about that another time about marine conditions. Yeah. Because there's a lot of compostable, biodegradable products they're saying, oh, they're great in the marine. They're not designed for that. Yeah. The sea is cold and our bags degrade in heat. So I actually gave my bag to Dr. Marcus Erickson at the conference from the 5 Guys Institute on Wednesday. And I said, take my bag, test it. Because look, the sea creatures could actually eat it because it's pure starch. But all of the biodegradable products are designed at the moment for land use. And it's a big subject because you know, I'm totally transparent and honest. I don't want to make up things if I'm not sure. Their products, they say they're marine safe, but are they? Maybe that's another fact.
Yeah. What did I want to ask you now? You know, because that's my one concern, and I've spent many nights crying, and I've spent many nights awake thinking, you know, how are we going to change this? And I think for people, and I know that everybody that watches now, you know, we have such a deep love and compassion for animals, all animals, especially our marine life. You know, just, you know, the cows. I mean, let's talk about the cows in India, the cows in Africa with their tummies full of plastic, So I would rather buy a bag. I would rather buy and pay for a bag like yours than, and then go home and use it and then dissolve it and know with a clear conscience that, it's not harming, and it's not choking, it's not poisoning anything on this planet and the planet itself. That's my one thing. Then use a plastic bag and it's single use or double use, and then eventually it gets chucked away, right? That's the one thing. Then the second thing is I think that companies and organizations need to be taxed heavily that are still producing plastic bags that are not biodegradable. I think that law needs to become in, and and also people that are going to the grocers buying these bags, plastic bags, I think they also need to pay heavily, whether it's 5 Rand or 10 Rand even for a plastic bag, because we need the change to come in and we need this to be taken seriously.
Well, there is a consultation process happening at the moment with big retail manufacturers. I'm part of that. It's the plastic bag levy, and I can't any comment on that consultation process. We've had one and there's another 2 to go to try and figure out, do we increase the levy? What do we do? So I'll keep you informed as to what's happening there. But it is, and it's actually good news. I'm not sure what that sound is.
No, I have some wildlife out here because I'm sitting in a very awkward place doing the interview with you. So I've got some haridas saying hello, good night, and they've obviously just returned from their day excursions. But yes, I hear you on the levies, and I think that's such an important conversation to have, in departments.
And everyone's looking, the big retailers, the manufacturers, we're looking for solutions. I would say that, again, it's good news. There's no final decision, but people are thinking, what can we do? How can we change things? So I was very, very impressed. So, but I'll let you know what the outcome of that is. And don't forget, it's not only plastic bag. There's the 2-liter fizzy cool drink bottles. There's a lot of single-use stuff that also needs to be looked at. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. So, Sonja, what I'm going to do is thank you so much for all the information that you've shared with us. I think what would be lovely is if you can give me a PDF that I can share with everybody that's watched, or even something that a link that I can put into this stream for people that will be watching, so that I can redirect them to the information that you have, the information that you've researched, so we can get everything all together on one page so people really can educate themselves, and that we can also get this through to, like smaller retailers, families, just about anybody really. So if we can get all of the information and the knowledge that you have all together on one page with URL links to accredited researchers and doctors and whoever in the plastic industry, and that would be lovely, because then we can share that with people. And I would definitely like to have a second follow-up interview with you at some point to see how you're growing and the change that's being implemented, and just how communities in South Africa are taking to this.
I'm losing you, but that's fine.
Oh, okay. Did you not hear that? Because I was wondering, but yeah, we really don't have good connection today, but it's okay. So we learn. You can always go onto the replay and listen to what I've said to you, and I think you can comment. And then I'm so sorry, everyone, but there's no big production house, and this information really has to be shared, and it's coming through exactly as it needs to come through. So, if anybody wants to help Sonja get the message across in a more professional way, or a more sure way, maybe connect with her, and so that you can do a little promo video, and we can put you out there, and we can even share that on my media pages, my social media pages, to my network, because this really hits close to home, and I would love to be a part of your evolution and your business evolution, and just the evolution from plastic to completely non-plastic to let's just take care of the earth and ourselves and everybody here that we share it with.
Absolutely. I'd love to share my journey with you.
Yeah, so I just want to say, let me just see if anybody else has asked some questions. So we have a few people online. I want to say thank you to Silke and Frederica, and I know that we have a viewer from Namibia, Harold Barch, as well. You know, these are all people who love animals and who love this planet, and I'm sure that they will support you in any way they can. So I'm going to invite them to connect with you. Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna invite them to connect with you, and this is my personal invitation to whoever is watching this: is please connect with Sonja Ray on Facebook, and then also with her company. Everything is in the link below, and let's see how we can support her and others in this industry, changing the game, showing the way. I call you the unicorns, you know, the light keepers, just changing the way for everybody here and making planet Earth a more safer haven, and just everybody's experience better. So I want to thank you so much for that, and I'm really so impressed and so happy. And I'm so happy that I was fortunate enough to connect with you, and that you answered my 5 o'clock SMS this morning and said, yes, let's do this. So thank you for that.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I love you all, and I look forward to chatting with you all again.
Yes, let's do that, and let's get the information out. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and like, subscribe, and follow, and invite your friends. I have a very small YouTube channel, but I'm sure it'll grow, and things will improve. So thank you so much, and be kind to each other, and love yourselves, and love the earth and everybody we share it with. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sonja, so much.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.